It's Rong Fu time again. I am Joe, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to do something here, and that is to make this thing into a power feed. I have this motor, if I can work the camera here, which I've had laying around for quite a while. And what this is a gear motor, 100 inch-pounds of torque on this baby. And normally it's DC 90 volts, but we're going to run it a little slower. I got this nice speed controller here, and we're going to hook it up to this thing. Now, the big deal of this whole project here is hooking this up to this. And what I'm planning on doing is making a couple of clutches. And there'll be a box here with a lever on it. And you flip the lever one way, it'll engage this worm gear thing. Okay? And when you flip it the other way, then it'll hook this spindle thing to the motor. So it'll be, you know, like the motor will be driving this part of it. So we're going to get a couple of clutches going here. Let me show you what I thought of. Stand by. Okay, so before we get started with the design part of this thing, this is the way that this works. This outer part here is connected to the worm handle, okay, and this part here is connected to the rack gear that drives the spindle up and down, okay. And normally you have this piece here that's keyed onto the shaft that drives the spindle. Okay, so what happens is when this thing is disengaged, as it is now because there's no screw in here, this will drive the spindle up and down. Okay, and the worm gear will have no effect. But when you put the screw in here, get in there, okay, and tighten it up, it applies pressure to this assembly, and then it's like a cone clutch which drives the spindle up and down. So what we're going to do here is we're going to remake some of these pieces. Okay, so you can see that taper on that cone. There's a matching taper in here. Alright, so now what we're going to do here is make something that's going to look like this. And this spool here is going to be connected to the rack gear that drives the spindle up and down. This side will be connected to the worm gear, so I can use the hand wheel when this one's engaged. And this side will be connected to the motor shaft, which will drive the spindle power feed wise. And I've just shown it with a line here, but there'll basically be a fork riding in here that can either shift it this way or that way. There'll be a key on this shaft that this thing will key to and slide on. Alright, so I have looked in Machinery's Handbook, and I cannot make their method work. So this is what I'm going to do to make this clutch. Basically, it's going to be an 8-tooth clutch. And the way you do this, the trick is on the first pass around this thing, you have to offset the cutter so that the edge is on the center line. And you make a cut, and then you index to the next tooth, and you cut that, all the way around. Then what you do is you offset by 1/2, which is 22.5 degrees in this case, and you offset the cutter to the other side of the center line, and then you cut this side like that. Alright, we got it. So here's an example of what I got when I did the thing in the Machinery's Handbook. And the problem with this is that the spaces aren't the same shape as the keys. But if I do that, that's perfect. Alright, we get the operator's view here of the cutoff operation. We got our homemade coolant thing here going. Oh, I love this, man. This is cool. Okay, I finished the first pass here, and now what I got to do is offset half the bit with the other way, which I'm doing right now. Okay, and then what I got to do is put the rotary table in jog mode and jog it. We want to go to 292.5. Okay, so there it is. What I did have to do here, or I didn't have to do it, but I did it, was face this off in the lathe, so this would have a good thing to bolt up. So there'll probably be 2 countersunk screws, you know, to lock this thing to the casting. This is cast iron right here. Okay, so we'll make the next piece. Okay, so we got our blank done. It's a real good fit on there, no play. So what we're gonna do now is broach a keyway in here. This is finished to diameters, but not to length. Kind of playing this by ear, building it out. So this piece is going to mesh with this piece. That's the next op. So what I have to do is make an exact copy of that onto that. Okay, we get another part built. This would be the sliding part, and it's exactly the same OD as this. So when we cut another face, this will engage. Okay, so we're set up in the mill here, ready to start cutting. And I've got my rotary table controller all set up. And I've got the head as low as it can go, and I've choked up on the end mill as tight as I can get it there. So we're at maximum rigidity here. So let's start cutting. Alright, here we go. We're ready to cut this thing. So we'll gas on our gas here. See how we did here. Got the test piece. Now it got some burrs, but it fits together. So we'll just do a little filing on this thing and it should work out good. Right. Got this baby hooked up. A couple flathead screws here. It's backwards in the camera. And this here fits on. So like when it's like this, worm gear does not do anything. But now the clutch is locked up. Now the shaft turns. So we're halfway there. Next thing I think I'll do is cut a groove in here for the shifter, and then I left this extra long because I wasn't sure how much. So I'll probably end up trimming this to final length and then cutting the other clutch face in there. And then that shuttle will be done. You can see how it slides on the key. So I got the depth of the keys is 150 thou, so it only really has to shift 300 thou before it engages. You know, it's in neutral here, and then it'll shift 300 thou or 150 thou the other way to engage the motor, which will be sitting out here with a similar face on it. So I'll have three positions. I'll have driving off the worm wheel, neutral, which in this machine, the way I've got the spring set up, it will just pull the quill up, and then when I shift it to the right, it'll be in power feed mode and driving off the motor. So here we go, more machining follies to entertain you guys.